All right, welcome back. It's the Avid Investor Podcast with me, your host, Josh Adamek. And today we're going to talk about credit and compound interest and the benefits of using credit and the downside and the pitfall of credit. So let me start off by saying this. I mean, compound interest, it can be an amazing resource. It can be beneficial, or it can be, a killer for you. So when it comes to compound interest can either absolutely destroy your financial future, or it can magnify and multiply your financial future. And I'm going to dive into those details and what I mean by that. So, when you look at available credit, and let's talk about credit and compound interest on the consumer side. So we live in a world today where credit is readily available everywhere you look, every store you walk into. It's like, you can't buy something without the cashier saying, "Hey, would you like to put that on your Lowe's credit card, or would you like to put that on your Target charge card, or would you like to you can't go out and buy something. You can't buy anything online without getting the pop-up saying, "Hey, apply for our credit card today, apply for this, that, no payments, no interest." Whatever the promotion is at the time, get a $50 gift card or whatever if you apply for the credit card. And and what that is it's a trap. I mean, it's a trap. So there's a way to use consumer credit responsibly. There's a way to use credit cards responsibly. We use we use credit cards. I mean, we use credit cards. We use available credit. When the timing is right, when the opportunity is right. When there's a huge discount available. If you're making a big purchase, you're furnishing your house, or you're remodeling your home or something like that, or you're making a big purchase, and you can get a 10 or a 20% discount by using that store credit, that available credit. Well, there's two things to look at when it comes to that. Is there a discount if you pay cash? Chances are no. But if you can get a 10 or a 20% discount when you apply for that store credit, and it's a big purchase, then yeah, maybe it makes sense to use that credit card. But the key is, when that bill comes, you need to pay it off. So what the retailers and suppliers want to do is they want to get you to apply for that credit card, and then they want to they want you to get that credit, and then kick the can down the road when the statement comes, and make the minimum payments. And if you look at a consumer credit card, I mean, there's no shortage of credit cards out there that are 10, 12, 18, 22, 24% interest. And if you look at an amortization schedule, what that purchase cost you, it's insane if you make the minimum payments, or if you don't pay that credit card off. So that's what I mean when I say consumer credit can kill you. So, a lot of people are caught up in the shiny object syndrome, where it's like, I got to have it now. I got to have it now. Well, when you're looking at buying something as a consumer, ask yourself two things. One, do you need it? Or two, do you want it? If you want it, think twice, think hard. Do you want it that bad? If you want it that bad, can you afford to buy it? And when I say, can you afford to buy it, I don't mean, do you qualify for credit? I mean, can you pay cash for it? Can you pay cash for it? Or can you, put it on your credit card, so you get the points, you get the rewards, and then pay it off when the statement comes? If you want it and you can't afford it, meaning that you're going to apply for credit, you're going to make the minimum monthly payments, and you're going to drag that out for who knows how many months or how many years, think real hard before you buy it. So unfortunately, that's the world we live in today. Unfortunately, whatever, financing is available, and a lot of people get caught up in that trap where everywhere they go, they walk in, they want to buy something, and they put it on a credit card and they make the minimum monthly payments. Then the next day or the next week they go into another store. It's like, oh, I need a new couch for my house. I'm going to buy it. Oh, you offer credit for that? What, you offer financing? Absolutely. I'll take it. And then you get another credit card and another credit card and another credit card, and then before you know it, you're caught up in this trap where you're spread so thin that you're making minimum monthly payments, or very, very small monthly payments on all these credit cards to have all this crap that you don't need, that you can't afford. So that's what I mean when I say, consumer debt and credit compound interest can kill you, can cripple your financial future. If you get spread too thin, you take on too much, and things, you buy things that you don't really need, that you can't afford, and you're making those minimum monthly payments. Well, guess what? Whatever you bought on that credit card, chances are pretty good you might not even have it by the time you actually pay it off. So I know this may not apply to a lot of people that are listening to this podcast, that are listening to this recording, but it's something that I feel the need to talk about. Because there are some folks out there that can benefit from this message. And like I said, when it comes to consumer debt, consumer purchases, think real hard. One, do you need it? Do you need it, or do you want it? If you want it and you can't afford it, don't buy it. Simple as that. If you need it and you can't afford it, figure it out. If you absolutely need something, you absolutely need a new car, for example, your car broke down, you got to go buy a new car. You can't afford to pay cash for the car. You can't afford to pay cash for a decent car. And I'm not talking about a Maserati or a Ferrari or something like that. I'm talking about, like, if you need a vehicle to, get you to and from work, to, have as a daily driver. If you need a new vehicle and you can't afford to pay cash for that car, of course financing is available, but think real hard on what you're doing here. Do you need the $50,000 car, or will the $20,000 car work? Look at the terms, look at the payments. If you need to finance a vehicle, if you need to finance any large purchases, can you buy something a little bit cheaper and pay it off quicker over time? And I urge you, when it comes to consumer purchases and consumer debt, quit looking at monthly payments. So many people, how much down, how much a month? Like, can I afford it? And that's the world that we live in. Nobody looks at the actual cost associated with that purchase. If you're looking at buying a car, it's like, oh, well, I qualify to buy, a $40,000 or $50,000 car, and it's only, whatever, $600-700 a month over, 72 months. Well, if you look at an amortization schedule over those 72 months and realize what you're actually paying for that $40,000 or $50,000 car, you might want to think twice on that purchase. Quit looking at the down, quit looking at the monthly, and look at the total cost of the purchase. And once you start looking at the total cost associated with finance costs amortized over a longer period of time, and you realize that you're buying that $50,000 car, but you're really paying $65,000 for it over the course of 6 years or 5 years, 6 years, or whatever you finance it for, you might want to take another look at buying a less expensive car and paying it off quicker. And again, this is assuming you don't have the ability to pay cash for a new vehicle. So look at an amortization schedule. If you go to and I enjoy doing this stuff. I'm a numbers guy. I'm a finance guy. I really pay attention to my personal finances and the business finances. But if you're looking for a resource, there's like bankrate.com. There's different calculators out there, and I urge you, from a consumer standpoint, go and go use those calculators. And see what something costs you, and take a look, a car, for example, take a look at a $50,000 purchase amortized over 72 months, and take a look at what that purchase is actually costing you, and then take a look at a $30 or a $35,000 or a $25,000 vehicle that's amortized over 36 months or 24 months or whatever the case may be. The payment is going to be about the same, give or take. If you buy a less expensive vehicle and pay it off much quicker, your payment might be about the same as buying a more expensive vehicle and paying it off over a longer period of time. But what you have to look at is the total cost associated with that transaction. So that's on car loans, things like that. When it comes to credit cards, credit card payments, you gotta avoid that stuff. You gotta avoid getting caught in that trap where, you get approved for, a Discover or a Capital One or a MasterCard, and look at the terms on that. It might be, 6 months or 12 months with a low interest or no interest, but what the credit card companies want you to do is rack up a big balance over the first 6 months or 12 months. And then at the end of that period, that high interest rate, that 18, 20, 22, 24% interest rate kicks in, and you're paying an absorbent amount, a ridiculous amount of interest on things that you bought that you didn't need, that you wanted. You were caught up in the shiny object syndrome. So it's a trap. Consumer debt, what it boils down to is consumer debt is a trap. They want to, the credit cards, the creditors want to dangle the carrot, and they want you to apply for the financing. They want you to get the 0%. They want you to get the 0.9, or the rewards at the beginning, and they want you to rack up those balances. And put you in a bad spot. Before you know it, you'll have a $10, $20, $30,000 in consumer debt, and then that high interest rate kicks in at 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, whatever it is, and you're stuck. You're trapped. You gotta pay that off. You're making your minimum monthly payments, if you're making minimum or very, very low monthly payments. All those payments are going towards interest, and you're never going to pay off that balance. Again, look at an amortization schedule. Look at a calculator on bankrate.com or wherever you decide to go. Just Google it, and just for fun, plug in $10,000 in credit card debt at 22% interest, and look at that schedule. See how long it's going to take you to pay that off, and how much you're paying towards interest. So it's you got to be aware. You got to be cognizant of what the total cost is of something, on the consumer side, not just the down, not just the monthly. So that's what I mean by when I say credit, and compound interest can cripple your financial future. That's what I mean by that on the consumer side. If you get caught up in how much down, how much a month, and then you're stuck making the minimum monthly payments down the line, or you're spread too thin, and you're making a payment here, you're sprinkling a payment here, sprinkling a payment there, and you're not really paying anything off. That's what I mean by it can cripple your financial future. So that's on the consumer side. When we roll into the investment side, the business side, how credit and compound interest can magnify and multiply your financial future, we just flip the table. So you want to be on the other side of that. So when it comes to investing, and you're talking about compound interest, simple calculation is an investment that earns 10% interest compounded doubles every 7 years. So what that means is if you have $100,000 and you invest that $100,000 into an asset class, or into something that is consistently earning 10% interest, that $100,000 will double every 7 years if the interest is compounded. So what that means is that if you're if you invest $100,000 in something, you're getting a 10% return. As you're getting your distributions, you're reinvesting those profits, or maybe you're not getting distributions. You have it set up, in an investment vehicle where it's automatically reinvested. That at 10% interest, your money doubles every 7 years. So you can do the math from there. Again, you can play around with an investment calculator, and play around with different interest rates, whether it's compounded, not compounded, and see, how beneficial compound interest and can be to you as an investor. So that's what we look at it. Me as an investor, I look at what's the return on investment, what's the asset class, what can I do, to reinvest profits, reinvest returns, to create more passive income, create more cash flow, ultimately getting a better return on investment. So when we talk about credit on the business side, there is nothing wrong with leveraging your investments and responsibly using available credit to leverage your investments and ultimately make more money with your investments. So I'm not saying that everything you invest in has to be all cash. I'm not saying credit is not something that you want to use for your business. Credit, when available and used responsibly, can be a huge asset to your business, especially when you're in real estate, or something that costs a significant amount of money, where you can do asset-based lending, things like that. So I talk about this in previous episodes. When we identify a property, when we purchase a property, or we're adding properties to portfolio, we have a certain buy box that we follow. We have certain equity requirements. We have certain target areas, target properties that we purchase. And same thing goes when you are borrowing money against those properties. So we operate under a private equity model. So the majority of our purchases are and our portfolios are privately funded through our equity partnerships. So we don't use a lot of bank financing. Some of our investors like to leverage financing and get a better return on investment. But when we do that, I mean, it's done responsibly. We're typically borrowing 50, 70% max loan to value, meaning we always keep those equity requirements. We're not over leveraging our properties. We're not buying properties that are subject to market cycles, that returns can fluctuate drastically to where they won't be self-supporting. When you're using financing for your business and for your for your investments, bare minimum, I mean, you want to make sure that the properties, the investments are self-supporting and have positive cash flow. If you get into an investment that is providing negative cash flow because you bought it in an area where you think it's going to go up in value, and you're like, oh, okay, I'm cool with losing a couple $100 a month because I know this property in 2 years, once this development happens, or this new highway comes in, or Amazon comes in, or whatever, I know that this is going to go from 100,000 to 250,000. If you're investing, based on speculation with negative cash flow, I mean, that's a recipe for disaster right there. So, when it comes to investments, there is nothing wrong with using debt responsibly, leveraging bank financing to fuel your investments and fuel your portfolio. But when it comes to that, you just want to make sure it's done responsibly. So equity requirements, positive cash flow are an absolute must. When it comes to adding debt and adding financing into your investments. So that's it. That's using credit on a business side. When it comes to a straight, just an investment. If you're looking to do like a cash investment, looking to be an equity partner or something like that on a portfolio, look at what you're investing in. I mean, are you investing in something that is or first off, what are your goals, and what is your risk tolerance for what you're investing in? So if you're looking to be a passive investor, looking for a return on investment, and you're in the position where, I've worked really hard for my money. I've taken my risk in my business. My family, for the last several generations, has worked very, very hard to build up the wealth of our family. Are you in a position where you just want somewhere to place your money that's going to be safe, secure for the long term? Or are you taking a chunk of that portfolio and say, I'm willing to risk this. I'm willing to risk this part of the investment. I think this could play out, but I know the risk reward ratio. So you got to look at that. And then, when it comes to, a passive investment, if you're looking at ROI, what's the return on investment? Again, if you're looking at a 10%, return on investment, compounded, that's going to double every 7 years. I mean, that's huge. That's how compound interest works for you. That's how compound interest benefits you on the investment side. So, but when you're looking as a passive investor, you're looking at an opportunity. Look at the risk reward ratio, and what are your targets, what are your goals, what are your ambitions as an investor? Are you looking for somewhere to put your money where it's safe, it's secure for the long term, or are you looking to get higher returns and take the risk that goes along with that? So when you are coming in as a passive investor into an investment, you have the ability to pick and choose, and allocate your investments over different portfolios. Maybe you take a chunk of your portfolio and put it in something that's speculative, that's risky, but then you take a larger chunk of your portfolio and put it in something that's safe, secure, long-term investment. And then if you look at the balance, if this speculative investment pays off, you hit your targets, you hit your metrics on the investment, and then you got your safety and security. Look at the blended return over your entire portfolio. That's how we win as investors. There's nothing wrong with taking some risk. There's nothing wrong with safety and security, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with a blended portfolio, blended investment, in different assets, different asset classes, things like that. So again, that's how we get as investors. We get compound interest, we get interest, we get credit to work to our benefit, to magnify and multiply our financial future. And I felt the need to talk about this today, both from a consumer standpoint and an investor standpoint, because bottom line is, like, you can't pull up your phone, you can't open your computer, you can't look on TV, you can't walk into a store without being offered financing and offered credit. And I just wanted to really hammer home that be very, very cognizant and aware of what that actually means to your financial future, and I understand everything that's involved with that. Understand that, consumer debt is a trap. Again, I want to hammer home that consumer debt, when used improperly, consumer debt when used, can cripple your financial future. Compound interest it's designed so the banks win. But when you look at that how compound interest works, and you shift to the investor mindset, compound interest, I mean, it's a game changer. Investing, getting a good return on investment, taking those returns and reinvesting them into more assets, buying more assets that are going to produce a good return on investment, positive cash flow. I mean, that's how you win. That's how you magnify and multiply your financial future. Look at investments that are, say, in my opinion, majority of your portfolio should be safe and secure for the long term. Positive cash flow, equity requirements, a strong, predictable return on investment, and that's how you win. That's how you win and get the compound interest and the interest to magnify and multiply your financial future. So that's it for today. I thank you guys for tuning in. I thank you for taking the time out of your day to listen to this message. And again, please connect with me. Please find me on social media. Send me a message, send me a DM. Reach out to me. Let me know if drop a comment. Let me know if you found value in the messages, in the recordings, the messages that I'm getting out there. And two, if you have found value in this, all I ask in return is that you share it with somebody that can benefit from the message that I'm delivering. So copy, paste, send the link to a friend, to a colleague, whatever, share it on social media. And then again, reach out to me, give me some feedback on, what you think of these recordings. Let me know, what you'd like me to talk about here moving forward, and we'll sign it up. We'll get it going. We'll get it on the list. So thank you guys for tuning in, and have a great day.